So before we go and move the car to go and do chores and all that stuff, I just want to show you how close the garage door gets to the front of the van. Because I don't think I'll ever be able to park this close again. Alright, enough distractions. On to business. In events of a different nature. Blender! Alright, but today's little experiment is going to be graphics card workload. Just how much can I put onto the screen before my graphics card is just like, no. Or Blender even for that matter, just like, no. So to that end, I'm also recording on OBS, so that takes up a portion of my graphics card, as I only have one. I guess I could try to invest in 2 graphics cards and try to double up into this in the same PC tower, but I'm also contemplating going the more expensive route and doing a dual PC situation so that one is focused purely on content and creation and the other one is focused purely on just the recording and broadcasting. It sounds good, but God, the price threshold, like that ceiling that you have to break through is just, it feels just so out of reach some days. So let's get to it then. So some of the more graphically intensive things that I do within Blender is simulation. So when I have to do something like cloth, so first we need an object, and that's sort of like our stage. So then we need an actor. And for that, we have just a simple plane. Right? And now I have a bunch of different little add-ons that I've collected over the years, and one of them that I really like, because it makes cloth stuff so simple, is Bystet's Cloth Builder. So basically what I do is I make one thing a cloth, and I make another thing a collision. And then it could be as simple as, I should divide this though. So let's do maybe like 5. Let's go 8. Then I just run, and it just does it. So obviously there's some weirdnesses happening, but the cloth thing isn't exactly that heavy. So let's maybe move it up to more. Wow, whoa, look at that, huh? All right, but I mean, we still have, data. I want to see if this goes to 5,000. Why is that the thing? See, so once it loads through once, then it doesn't really have to be all that heavy necessarily. Yeah, so that's one thing. The other thing that I want to do is let's just add more. All right, well, I guess Blender didn't like that. When it does that, I'm not sure if that's a graphics thing or if that's just I put in too many inputs. And then Blender just says, nope. All right, well, that's enough for the cloth. Let's move on to liquid/fire. Okay, so let's move on to, let's do liquid simulation. source. And the only reason why I'm rotating this right now is because what I'm trying to work with is the axis. It's the axis method of spouting out a liquid of some sort. So we just set that there. Okay, and so the add-on. So we could do this by just, coming in here, setting up fluid and creating a domain and an inflow and all that stuff. But Flip Fluid has a demo that I just wanted to see what the full version has, like a fraction of the full version of the Flip Fluid's system thing was. And so I downloaded the demo and I've just been playing with that. And it has a lot of features that I really like. But I don't know if it warrants me committing to the price tag. So let's create a domain so that we can actually play with our situation. So I did forget that I wanted this to be on its axis so that it would spit out on the plus z. So that's why I have the axis being shown here so that I know which way positive z is facing. Okay, so let's bake that. So let's see what that looks like. All right, so it does the simulation. So now let's give it some materials and let's see if that really sort of bogs down the computer at all. I'll just let it go for right now so that it has at least one run of simulating. So we'll give it some materials, and then after that, I will reduce the size of the inflow, and I'll up the resolution, and we'll see just, when Blender says no more. Let's give it some material now. So I want it to look like water. What does it look like now? Oh, it just looks like default material. Got it. Shall I give it a little ball? And move this guy back to like here or something. Then let's reset and let's start the bake over so that it recognizes these new objects. Okay, and then that looks something like this. Now what's happening there? So the source is now smaller in scale, but at least it's still spitting out stuff at a resolution of 100. I don't know why it's doing this all of a sudden. What did I change? Huh, so it wasn't the pool that I created then. So there's just some glitch or something that I triggered. Interesting. I'll have to look at that later. All right. So the whole reason why I'm doing these limitation experiments on my graphics card is because I've come into contact now with a few environments that are just they're just unhandleable. So for example, this one that I'm about to load up is just in its file size 1.9 gigabytes. It's pretty large. It's not the largest that I have, but this one's pretty beefy to the point where I can set a scene, but if I dare try to render that scene, Blender just quits and says no, forget it. And I don't really know if that's I would imagine that would be a graphics card thing, right? Because it's Blender saying, hey, I want to do this. The graphics card says no, so the program says, you know what's the best thing to move on from here is if I just stop doing what I'm doing, right? And it closes. Is that how that works? It starts in wire mode because otherwise everything slows down and dies. All right, so in any case, let's see if I can... So let's just jump one viewport mode over and let's see what that does. All right, can I move around? I can. So far, everything is fine. So let's go into shading viewport. So now the textures and the materials have to render. And Blender died. So I can't view anything that has color or like textures. So any of the any of like the cement on the street or the neon of the lights. No. But yeah, so otherwise, my tests just include things like taking that liquid simulation and just making that sphere smaller and smaller and boosting the resolution up higher and higher until Blender says no more. So the smallest that I've gotten it was... I forget the scale now. But the highest that I've gotten that resolution was 300, I think. And it took 24 minutes to finish baking that scene before it let me see what it simulated. So that's the other thing too, is the time of render and speed. Those are things that I'm trying to cut down as well. So yeah, ultimately, I'm scared at what I'm going to have to start looking at in terms of upgrading my rig, but those are the kind of experiments that I do when I don't really feel like playing a video game, or I've already spent 2 hours playing a video game and I just need to do something different. So it's little experiments like that. All right, on to the next day.